How plyometrics work. Today we speak about how plyometrics work, what is a stretch shortening cycle, and different activities to elicit the stretch shortening cycle for the lower body and for the upper body. In order to understand how plyometrics work, we need to understand how muscle contraction works. We have three different types of muscle contractions. We have an eccentric contraction where the muscle is lengthened. We have a concentric contraction where a muscle is shortened. And we have an isometric contraction where the muscle remains in a static position. So it's neither lengthened nor shortened. In plyometrics, we use the eccentric contraction and the concentric contraction. And to think about a simple example would be a jump. So if we go down into the jump, the muscles are lengthened. If we jump up, the muscles are shortened. So eccentric contractions on the way down, concentric contraction on the way up. The time between switching from eccentric to concentric is called amortization. So one effect plyometric training has, is to shorten the time period or the time it takes for the amortization. So the switch from eccentric to concentric. Another thing for plyometrics is the so-called stretch shortening cycle. As I said, eccentric contraction is a stretch followed by the shortening, the concentric contraction. Stretch shortening cycle. We have short stretch shortening cycles and long stretch shortening cycles. Activities for a short stretch shortening cycle for lower body would be drop jumps, standing on a box, dropping down, jumping onto another box, or jumping over hurdles. Repeated hurdle jumps are also examples for short stretch shortening cycle activities for the lower body. Long stretch shortening cycle activities could be standing long jump, a vertical jump, or a broad jump. For the upper body, short stretch shortening cycles, we can think about power drop. So having a light implement, the athlete lies on the ground, someone drops the ball down and throwing it back up, really with a focus of as explosive as possible. Medicine ball wall drills, so throwing something against, it could be a rotational throw, it could be an overhead, could be a chest pass, anything. But again, the focus is on fast execution with a quick rebound and doing it for multiple repetitions, but really focusing on keeping the time it takes from receiving and releasing the ball as short as possible. Long stretch shortening cycle activities usually are done with heavier implements. So we could think again of a medicine ball chest pass, but then using or selecting a heavier implement, so a heavier medicine ball. Important here is the activities are just tools. So you as an athlete or you as a coach, you need to think about what do I want to get out of my training, and then I choose the desired activity. So am I in a sport where, for example, there's a lot of running involved, short stretch shortening cycle activities when the foot is on the ground, you can select short stretch shortening cycle activities for the lower body. If you're in a sport where that is not necessarily required, I spoke about in another video that even for power lifters, someone who's just interested in, for example, increasing his bench press, even then plyometrics could have their benefit. But then we are probably looking more at long stretch shortening cycle activities. So with a medicine ball, a bit of a heavier medicine ball, lying on the ground, throwing it up, partner catches the medicine ball. So these could all be activities. Again, think about what you want to get out of the training and then choose your activities. As a recap, to understand plyometrics, we need to understand how a muscle contraction works, eccentric contraction, amortization, concentric contraction. The stretch shortening cycle, the muscle gets stretched rapidly, and as a result, there is a shortening concentric contraction of the muscle. And then we have different activities for lower body and upper body, short stretch shortening and long stretch shortening. And you need to think about what activities are desired for your sport or what activities happen in your sport, and then you choose these activities in training.